So to my right is Cassandra,
Hello.
casting director. She's been doing casting since a decade now, I must say.
In Europe, yeah.
In Europe. She was based in Italy. Now she's based in Munich. And your territories, I would say, it's Italy, UK,
US.
US as
Yeah.
well.
Mhm. And Germany, Italy. Yeah. So mostly Germany, Italy, US, UK, and, I just finished a Polish project. I just finished an Israeli project, one that shot in Turkey. So I do kind of also pan-European projects as well.
Wow, that's exciting. Thank you. And now we're going to go to Fatih Abay, who is also, you are based in Berlin. You work for diversity inclusion at the European Film Academy. Yeah? And sorry. Apparently that doesn't work. This doesn't work, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the Diversity Inclusion Officer of the European Film Academy. For those people who still don't know the European Film Academy, it's equivalent to the American Academy of Motion Arts and Pictures. We give it out every year, the European Film Awards, but we do a lot of projects on audience development as well. And I went on board 2 years ago, and my task is basically to develop a diverse inclusion strategy. And just also because we're in France, so Juliette Binoche just became our president. So, and this is, I think, also that there's a lot of now more transparency, and we want to become more transparent also, especially for underrepresented people.
Thank you so much. Sorry. Now I'm going to go back and forth. Bonko Khoza, he's an award-winning versatile actor from South Africa.
Really excited to be here and connect with global filmmakers and African filmmakers, and hoping we can cross-pollinate our thinking and do something special. But I'm really excited to be here. Thank you.
And last and least, we have Keith Simanton. I got the name right. Yeah. He's the managing editor for IMDbPro and a senior film editor, and has been with the site for 24 years.
I've been fortunate to have been with IMDb since 2000. And, we are so excited to be here and to be participating with this, because IMDb is an international site. It crosses borders. A good portion of our traffic, I can't disclose how much, is international. And we just want to be right. And so part of, my excitement for being here is to kind of help talk about how to make sure that your page is right or your title is right, because it's so important. And it's wonderful to be here.
And here online, there is Nedin Mutic. He's all the way in Norway.
Comes out.
So he's working for the Talent Inclusion Norway Film Institute, and you also an artist, isn't that right?
No, I'm senior advisor at Norwegian Film Institute. I've been working at AfroCannes for 15 years, and during the last 6 years, we've had an action plan in place for diversity and inclusion for Norwegian film industry. And I can talk a little bit about that.
Mm-hmm. And do you and Fatih Abay communicate? You know him? You met him? And does the same rules apply in Norway as it does in Germany? In Europe? Is it all the same?
No.
Well, that's interesting.
Mike to say.
Sorry, just to know.
No, but I can talk about it then.
Yeah, exactly.
Later when it comes to the topic.
No, that's okay. So, as we know, I know Cassandra for a long time. She's probably one of the first casters that trusted me with the agency, and we booked series together, and we're still working together. And when it applies, I love it to death. This is not favoritism. This is just something that happened. And then, you have a script. All of a sudden you have a script, and as soon as you give up the script, then it's not your own anymore, So as someone like you, and you, later on comes to place where you guys also talk, and when you do your breakdowns, do you dissect the script and maybe have to call somebody from the inclusion company and say, can we do this differently?
But maybe I will start. It's not her task. Yeah, it's not his task. I just, Yeah, I mean, I would say like I think casting has really, really been behind more inclusion for many, many decades, and it's always been, we're the ones screaming and yelling, and it's always kind of into the wind up until some years ago, a few years, maybe 5 years ago. And I've had really, when I started working in, I mean, I think in a way, everything's different. America is very different from Europe, of course. But here in Europe, when I started in Germany like 10 years ago, I mean, I would get yelled at if I suggested an actor that was in any way outside of the box for that thing. And I just continued to do it, but I was literally told like swear words, So now that has absolutely changed. There's a strong drive, I feel, across the producers. But it's like a little bit, I think the methodology is sometimes not quite right, and so that's what needs to be worked on. I think that the will is there, but the implementation is not quite tweaked yet, but it's better.
Mm-hmm.
Say it's better.
And
Sorry.
Fatih, thank you. That was very, very. And Fatih, how long you have been doing that right now in your position?
Well, I'm joined the European Film Academy 2 years, and my mandate is basically to develop a diversity inclusion strategy for that institution, which was founded late 80s by predominantly white, cisgender male filmmakers, Ingmar Bergman, Wim Wenders, and obviously now it's changing. Also the fact that since that's when our current CEO, Matthijs Walter Knoll, took over the academy, couple of years ago, he obviously wanted to change the European Film Academy, make it also European, because we are based in Berlin and the headquarters are Berlin. And long time it was always the Germans are coming. And now obviously Europe is so diverse in itself when it comes to various different diversities and geographically. So right now we are kind of on a right track. We opened our board, meaning allocated seats also from Eastern Europe, Southeastern Europe, have also now indigenous seat as well, which is now currently by the Sami people, but then it will go to the Roma people and so on. So representation within the institution is also for us important. And when it comes to content, obviously, I can just make recommendations to funds, because it's always the funding bodies who still decide, even like if you have very good casting directors, casting or casting agents, it's still like the funding institutions who are saying, no, this person is not working. We just go for that white actor. Maybe because he's so well known in Germany. But the thing is, like, it's always the same people. If I look on the German film, especially, it's always still the same people. And TV changed, and we are all aware of that, also in Germany and in Europe. But I think, and that's, I think, where funding institutions need more training in that sense to also see that it's working. And, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nedin, can you hear us?
Yes.
You probably just heard what we were saying, no?
Yeah.
Do you want to elaborate on that? What you said?
Yeah, I can talk about Norwegian Filminstitutt aims to bring about structural change in our industry. So we, as a provider of funding and the premise provider, we are working together with our industry, with our regional film centers, with our educational institutions, and we are working on multiple fronts simultaneously. Some of the most important things we have done are in the areas of recruitment, talent development, data collection, and then incentivization through grants and funding. And one of the most important things we have done, we have recruited the film commissioners with diverse backgrounds, which has changed the conversations in the decision-making rooms. So this diversity, competence, and perspective is now part of our institute, and that has, in my opinion, that has been the most important change providing new perspectives and knowledge, and these commissioning editors are making maybe some other choices, some unsafer choices, if you will, which we are starting to see results of.
Yeah, I mean, we have still a long way to go somehow, is that right? It sounds like it. And Bonko, how do you feel as a South African actor? No, you are based in South Africa when it comes to diversity in your business, and you are currently represented by Global Atlas, isn't that right?
Alta Global.
Alta Global, yeah.
Yeah, I think with every region it becomes a slightly different conversation. So, from Africa, South Africa, speaking about South Africa and the history that we have, one can particularly say as a Black actor in South Africa, there's a bias for Black actors. So for me to really engage in this conversation, honestly speaking, we do need to do a lot more work in terms of diversifying it more for the white actor in South Africa. I think the journey of apartheid and the healing from apartheid, there's almost I would say, social vengeance that happens through the industry. But I mean, it's also based on metrics and audience, and I think the white South African market has a market of its own. There are specific pockets that you find it, but I would not necessarily call it a mass market. And then you come to Europe or you go to America and you find that it's totally flipped, and then I become the minority. So I think it's it's got to do with casting directors, film commissioners, creatives, directors, people are willing to fight for, as Norway was saying, the more unsafe idea, the risky idea. I think the industry is really based on trends, and you can choose to follow the trend or make the trend. But I just believe as talent, if something's cool, it's cool. If a film is cool, whether Bonko is the guy leading it or, you've got someone else leading it, if the story resonates with, I think the more we try and make stories that to a degree resonates with everyone, as opposed to saying, I'm making a movie for my people or these people, I think it would take us to a much more interesting direction.
What's your last project about right now?
Oh, Heart of the Hunter. Yeah, Heart of the Hunter is a Netflix project. It's a Netflix commission directed by Manza Dube. It was really successful, and thank you. It's a really good example.
Good job, moderator.
Yeah, good job. So, Heart of the Hunter, directed by Manza Dube, commissioned by Netflix, Netflix Global, and we managed to do #1 in the world for English-speaking movies for about 3 weeks. I think at the end of the 3 weeks, we ended up banking around 205 million streams around the world. Really, really proud of that. And it was really a challenge to the status quo, because you had leads from every culture, from every race. So it's an uncomfortable project, locally.
Yeah, and the funding came from South Africa, or where did the funding came from?
Funding?
Yeah, the funding.
Netflix.
Sorry, Netflix. Yeah, it was Netflix. Yeah. But still, yeah.
No, Netflix came with a nice black card,
nice.
and they just.
Oh, that's so funny. That's great. Huh? That speaks for itself.
Yeah, it was Netflix, and the beautiful thing about it is that because Netflix, the structure is like a global structure, so they're not really interested in your local kind of. I mean, they try, obviously, consider it, but I think their bigger goals is to make global projects, right? So we had a colored person as a lead, we had Black person as a lead, we had a white person as a lead. You know what I mean? Like, it was locally, it's like, this schizophrenic kind of project, because you're like, who is it for? And then we sit at the end of the week and like, you guys are #1 in the world, or you resonated in America, you're #1 in Brazil, and you're like, wow, that's interesting. So I hope South Africa learns from that. That we go further together, really.
Well, that's great. So now we're going to Keith, and I hope you got your IMDb page ready now. Huh? Huh? Because you're sitting next to the man.
He has graced us with his photo. It's lovely.
His photo.
It's a headshot.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, now to you, Keith, and the IMDb. I have so many questions for you. He interviewed me last year. He had so many questions for me. Now I got questions for him. Huh? Here we go. Yeah. What we talk about? Okay, IMDb and the importance of IMDb. I mean, I love IMDb. For me, this is a home away from home. You know, this is my Bible. This is where I go to when I want to research somebody.
Yeah.
You know, directors, producers, casters, whatever. You too, I IMDb you too. It's not anymore Google, your IMDb, right?
Yeah.
People, yeah. So stretch the importance. What do you think as a chief and editor of IMDb?
Well, in 24 years. No, it's, we feel fortunate to be, to have that kind of reaction. We take it as a responsibility, that it's a worldwide company. And we take being accurate very important. And actually, one of the things, I'm going to read this, so you have to forgive me. So I get it exactly right. But last year, you can sign up for IMDbPro for free. You have to put in your credit card, but you sign up for free. We do not charge you. And with that, I want to make sure that it's the basic package. The basic package can claim your IMDb page. So you basically, if you're an actor, director, you can say, that's me, and affirming that you're that person. So that we can trust that. To manage the display of personal details, including gender identity, sexual orientation, birth date, race, ethnicity, and disability or ability, across IMDb and Pro. If they choose to display this information, if you choose to display this information, it appears in the personal details section of your Pro or IMDb or Pro page. And what's important about that, and we were talking about this out in the lobby, is then that makes it discoverable for industry decision makers who are like attempting to, we want to be more diverse. So I don't know anyone, and so I need to do a filter, and they can do that with people that have self-identified in that regard. So this is fairly new. We've had the ability to add things like I can juggle and that kind of thing for a very long time. But this is new, and we think it's very powerful, and hopefully enabling this this move to diversity.
And what qualifies you to be on the IMDb? Not anybody, and everybody can be.
That's part of what makes our job hard. Because I'm sure everyone in this room probably knows someone who is making a movie right here. And that's the only place that movie is ever going to be. And that's fine for them. But when people are relying on us to show, valid credits, and a person who has a track record, or even a person who doesn't have a track record, one of the things that a person can do is sign up for an IMDb page without a credit. That's actually paid. You have to say, I'm an aspiring actor. Here's my headshot. I don't have any credits.
Is that new?
No, that's been around for a while, but people don't do it very much. People basically want to have that credit too. And again, what happens, one of the reasons I think it's very important for us to be here is that internationally, it's very hard, because imagine someone's making a feature in Poland right now, and it's their second feature. We don't know about the person who's making the second feature in Poland. They have to send it to us. They have to submit it to us. And then when they send it to us, they also have the folks that are associated with that film. And it might be their first film. Everything kind of hangs off titles in IMDb. And then of course names enrich everything. But those final credits are what we really key in on, because you can see them and they're discoverable and knowable. Now, of course, there are things that are in pre-production or in the script phase. And, those are harder. And we continue to look for better ways to do that. When you submit that you've got a movie that you've just got the financing for, but you start shooting in, a month, hopefully we'll have some kind of, you'll have a trade report on it. Or, some producer will have a quote, by the way, I'm also making a film in Poland and it's named blah with this director. Because we have to have some verification. Again, as I was saying, we want to make sure that we don't have illusory titles on the site or people. That would be bad. So, and it's very hard because, someone who may have shot a whole movie and they're like, I'm in the movie and you're not in the final credits. You got cut out. That happens.
But it says so,
Yes, typically they're either in or they're out. And yes, we put uncredited.
Yeah.
Or
it's great. You still,
Then you
were part of the project, but you just got uncredited.
Correct. But we have to validate that and vet it. And that vetting, it's really this marvelous meeting of both user-generated content by the people that know it best, right? The folks that are making it on the ground. Oh, we just fired that editor yesterday, and now here's our new editor, and I've got to make that change. Okay, cool. And then the vetting aspect, where we look at the submitters and go, oh, this is a trusted person who sent us good data over time, or this is a person who sent us a lot of stuff over time, and we're not so sure if we're going to put this up, and we'll take some time on that. So it's this marvelous mix. Well, we hope that ends up being a valued resource. And
you have Getty Image being part of it? I mean, we see always the Getty Image on
we've had Getty Image. We originally started off with Wire Image back in the day, 24 years ago. And they were then purchased by Getty, and we had this marvelous relationship with Getty. But really, in the most important to me are the people who submit their headshot, yourself, and many others, because it's their branding. It's their representation of themselves. It's how they, we have folks that will just have themselves behind a camera. You don't see their face because they're a cinematographer or they're a director and they want to have the little film camera lens thing in front of, okay, fine. People, makeup artists will go in full makeup. You have no idea what they look like, but there's a good example of their wares. So, and it's really wonderful because people are so inventive and people come up with just things we could have never expected.
And now that people can show showreels and stuff as well, showreels, videos.
Sorry, say again?
That people can show showreels and videos.
Oh, yes. Demo reels. Yes, yeah. We have demo reels where you can put together some of your past work, edited past work, so that other folks can see that as well.
That's what I thought. Thank you. Oops. Thank you so much. That was very... So everybody who doesn't have an IMDb page, you can. And if you don't have a credit, you can.
Well,
you can. What? That's what you just said. Did you not say that? Huh? Did you just say that? Yeah, you
let's not throw the baby out with the
bathwater. So, Cassandra, I just wanted to ask you, we have so many platforms that I have to work with to represent my actors, to get them work, reading the breakdowns. Some casters in Germany, I don't know if any are here, don't show the breakdowns as much as when I work with Spotlight and all that stuff. So I was wondering, with you, for instance, with the breakdowns, and which site do you prefer to work with, and why can't we just have one? Wouldn't that be fun to just have one?
Yeah, I mean, they have their different uses for different ones. Of course, I use IMDb. It's like the Bible. I use it all the time. No, and it's I always say Europeans, put your credits on there. It drives me crazy. Like the film companies don't make the project, and then when they're there, they're like not listed in the right order. It's like somebody who's like a walk-on one-day role is like at the top. And it's like, but I use the ranking quite a lot. Oh, yes. I use the Star Meter a lot, and I mean this is also bad. I even use it to like decide how much someone should get paid, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, it's not a total thing, but it's like, it's a big, you know, and I also know like, okay, a German star will have like this much. And then you can kind of feel like the top German stars have a certain ranking. And then if they're international, then you can kind of feel that on the ranking because it goes up. So, I use another site, which is very, very hard data, which is called Luminate data. I use that for like when I'm trying to attach a bankable actor onto a project, to like argue with sales companies that the person I'm trying to bring on actually has value, you know? So that's a hard number. I use Spotlight, of course. I use Filmmakers in Europe a lot, of course. Filmmakers is great. But I kind of use, a variety, depending on what I'm doing. I use a different thing, you know, a different site. So, but IMDb is like amazing. Big fan.
Yeah, I'm a big fan too. Fatih, and your work, when you said yes, I feel like you are in touch with all these sites as well. No? You use them for your projects.
Well, I personally don't, but
no,
our
you kept saying, yeah.
institution is reference. I mean, to become a member,
Exactly.
at the European Film Academy, you have to have at least 2 IMDb credits.
Exactly.
And this is, I mean,
That's their edict, not ours.
No.
let's be
No,
very
I
clear.
think this is also what we talked about. Obviously, IMDb is such a good reference and like a Bible or a lexica, you know, to look up. But I think it's also something brings to the point that institutions like ours and also funding institutions, obviously they look up and then they see if this person is relevant or not. And I think this is also something that's not your responsibility, but I think this is what institutions have to also, I mean, how it's used by certain institutions and and funding institutions as well, because and also my question would be maybe in this regard, what about actors who kind of did credited work in film before and now they go back to theater and now they want to go back to acting? Are you crediting theater work as well? Because this is a very
interesting.
that's a trend in Germany right now to cast really theater actors. Also in Europe. So that would be maybe also my question, but in general, just to answer your question. So I think in that sense, institutions follow this as a reference point, and we have to work on this, that we don't make basically our criteria very hard, just to say, okay, 2 credits, maybe 1 credit, you know, or if it's like, if this person has an IMDb page or not, that we also look for other relevance, material, not only these kind of platforms.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's also the education and all that stuff, you know.
Just to answer that question directly, we do not have hard filmography credits for stage. And largely because we can't verify it. Or it's very, very hard to verify it. And really that's been a guiding light for us is to be able to discern somebody averring that they were in something and 5 people come back and say they weren't. We need to arbitrate that. And it's very, very hard. And, you know, and particularly with theater, it's hard to model that very well. You can do that in your personal page on Pro. You can go in and you can do credits, but we have, you know, not verified by IMDb, and it's completely, usable and fungible by that individual. But we can't state whether you were in the, you know, Toledo production of, you know, Fiddler on a Roof or not. That would be, and plus, like one night you were the lead and then you got a cold for 3 days and somebody else filled in. It's very hard to model that, but you can put it in individually on your page. We just don't have an overall, blue linked, to a title. So.
It's maybe something to work on, Pete.
It's
a whole
other world.
Now that I think about it, because these are major credits, and you are right, you know.
We got TV to worry about.
Bonko, your first credit back then, when was that?
Oh
my God. I mean, it is a nice research place, you know? So, yeah.
Thank you, Fatih. Yeah, well, Keith will show us.
Don't wait on me.
Okay, first credit back when, I'm thinking this is around 2013, maybe 14. it should be, let's do it at the same time.
Wait.
B-O-N-K-O. I mean, B-O-N-K-O. You guys should be typing in yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
B-O-N-K-O. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, here we go. Drum roll, please. Oh,
Scroll to the bottom.
filmography. Let's go see all.
All right. There you go.
So nice.
My first title was Necktie Youth. That was a feature.
You came up with that. That was pretty impressive because we've got a little pile-up issue here.
Necktie Youth, which is
Necktie Youth. What was that?
Necktie Youth was a film directed by Sid Shangwe-Lameur. He won. He competed in Berlinale. Nominated in Tribeca. I was nominated Best Actor in Tribeca as well for that.
First role?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. But this was the classic, it just popped up, right? So by the time I signed up, it already suggested to me that you're in this movie.
Pardon?
What?
Like,
oh, yes.
So it had me credited before I had signed up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because like Keith was saying, the producers and the directors will add the title and say, this is the lead, this is the cast. Then as soon as I join IMDb, it's like, hey, you're in these movies or you're in these titles. And it didn't really click for me until I really, I saw the use of it or the, you know what I mean? Like the benefit of it. And really, honestly, to all the actors in the room, I think the benefit of it really is being able to control your brand. I think actors have, I don't say the least amount of control, but we have limited control, right? You get the script, you do this, you get directed, you get told what to do. And I think as far as IMDb, you have that much control of how you look, how you present yourself, how you want to be perceived. I mean, you could go as far as writing your own bio.
Please do. That's not so far. Yeah. Write your bio.
Write your own bio. You know what I mean? Don't wait for somebody to speak of you. I mean, if you can write a really nice bio about yourself that you think reflects you well and represents you well, you do that. So as soon as that clicked for me, then it became a game changer. And I was like,
here's a question. So, and we obviously allow that because there's, millions and millions of people on the site. A suggestion on writing a bio is don't be too florid. One of the most well-regarded actors of his generation, even though he's been in 3 shorts, it might not sell. So, perhaps go with just the facts. Did a lot of actually, that's a great place also to say, did 5 years of theater, was awarded nominated for a Tony, because although we do Tonys, off Broadway. That's a great place to do that kind of that information sharing. Sorry, no. And he was right. It was Necktie Youth that finally showed up. So.
I think I just want to also put the add on this conversation, because we talk a lot about representation on screen, but I think it's really up to also the producers, directors, that they should be also actually represented, and there should be more representation because they decide also on these decisions mostly. And I know that IMDb is not only for actors.
No.
And I think this is also important that also producers of underrepresented communities use that as well and kind of feature their work, because then also I think really funding institutions go to that page and really look, okay, what other credits, what they have done and how it looks like and so on.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. This is the site you're using. I mean, this is the site you go and do your research.
I mean, it's like saying that institutions are using these kind of reference points because we live in a reference-based industry. I mean, if you look on funds, certain filmmakers don't have to apply anymore because in certain countries like Germany and France, you have reference funding. As soon as a very famous filmmaker applies, this person gets the money. So, because it's public funding. and we have it also in law. So, and I think this is, something where obviously these kind of platforms help, but also obviously benefit certain people, but also obviously create more discrepancies because institutions going for these methods.
No, you're totally correct.
If I may, really quickly, I also want to kind of hit on that point, which is I know both of you as casting directors.
I'm an agent. She's casting.
Sorry, forgive me.
Everybody gets that wrong. I don't know why.
Have your photo, and it's not about in this regard a corporation. It's I've got to meet Caprice at in the diner, and I don't know what she looks like, and here she is, there she is, and people are able to make that that mental connection, and same thing for executives or cinematographers or any of what would to use the derogatory and unfair term, but the below the line folks that aren't necessarily in the main credits. I think it's very important I'm meeting with someone and they're going to have that panic moment of where are they? Who are they? You're meeting them in a restaurant for breakfast. It's pays for itself right there.
Did you? Yeah, we had a little bit. I have somebody told me that they have a picture on IMDb forever. They put that picture on IMDb forever and they can't get it off. I said, well, join IMDb. So maybe there's an easy way to delete these informations, isn't that right?
You can definitely overwrite it.
Yeah. And you seem to be very liberal with these pictures, Remember when I said deliver, and you said selfies, cameras, and the quality of the pictures that you use for IMDb are quite liberal, I would say, or easygoing, not just like professional pictures.
It's whatever the person wants. Once they purchase, and again, this is the paid.
Oh, sorry.
No, sorry, guys.
Yeah, I forget.
This is the paid version of Pro. If you want to, say change your headshot or manage your presentation, you can change like what you were known for. Or what your primary profession is. Like I've been an associate producer for a long time, or I've been a screenwriter for a long time. Now I'm a director. And you don't want to see, because a lot of things that we do are by algorithms. We look at a page and go, what have they done the most? That's probably what they are. But someone changes and goes, you know what? I'm no longer a writer. I am a director. That's cool. Good on you. But we don't know that. And you haven't made a movie yet. You're making one now. Pro, you can go and choose your primary profession. You can choose what you're best known for. Because again, we look at the algorithms. We look at the popular things that our users are looking at and assume that that's what you're known for. You can override that. Same thing with the main image. Like this marvelous gentleman to my immediate left. I'm going into a restaurant and I'm like, where's Bonko? Oh, there he is. Except for he's grown a beard.
Yeah. Because he hasn't shaved in a while.
Shaved in a while. But that is, that management of the brand, I think is one of the real great benefits.
So, but it should be more true to the fact not using a lot of face apps and all that stuff. Like face app, changing your face.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen that before.
Actors?
Yeah, they do that. They face app the pictures and then it's out there in the world. I mean, you as a caster, I said, let's keep the picture as much as you are, because if they walk into the room, then they're not what it is.
It's like it's really bad. I mean, you have to look in your picture like the person that walks in the room. It could be like the best version of the person who walks in the room, but it needs to, yeah, exactly. But it needs to be but it's an interesting thing because, I have to say also IMDbPro is it's also like so many actors use it. It's also a safety thing. And we've had really some problems in the past, where people were pretending to be casting directors and that kind of thing. Really dangerous now, like trafficking and stuff. And we were always like having to contact and then take them down and whatever. So it's and there's also just, this is another thing, like it was interesting, the mixing up the casting director and talent agent thing. But, there's this thing called, and it's a really big problem all over like certain parts of Europe, and where it's called a casting agent, where these people, and they're listed sometimes even on there. I see like in like Turkey, you have like 20 people that are casting agents, and those are like agents that cast. So they're paid by the production less money, but they hire their own clients. And no, it's a really, really corrupt thing that goes, it's something to just keep an eye on, because, I'm at the CSA, we're trying to really stop that, because it's, it kicks people out of it. And it's like people have to pay to be on their websites, or they have to pay for clips, Oh
yeah.
They have to pay memberships to have their, so anyway, but I think like the categorization of what, you guys do it and all of that, it protects people, because, if someone has an IMDb profile and they're not real, people will be trapped into things, and that has happened very dangerously. So it's a safety mechanism as well.
Yeah, that's good to say. Yeah. Yeah, we do have this. See, we're almost going to have to wrap up, unfortunately, unless, I have more questions to you, but we'll talk to you later,
We'll talk afterwards.
I have your email. So I'd like to thank everybody for coming and showing up here. Keith has to run to some kind of premiere.
Megawatt.
Huh? Yeah. Hold on. Going to the
We have a few hours.
So thank you so much for being here, and I hope you both get this solved. What you said?
Sorry. No.
Okay. Well, thank you.